Hello, welcome to another episode of low energy Rekt Markets. I think I quite enjoy the comments I get that I don't know if they're supposed to be insults or jovial or whatever, but I'm not adverse to a bit of banter, and I do enjoy that. Sorry, my Bloomberg screen just closed down, so I'm just getting this back open again. So I'm just going to open the window. Right. Welcome everyone. Welcome to all our friends from China. We seem to have gained a strong Chinese contingent in the Rekt trader collection. So a big welcome. It's nice to spread our wings beyond just the immediate community. I think some of you guys have just seen the NFTs, I guess, but Rekt has been going on for a long time. We've been going for about 5 years, and we have so many things within the Rekt ecosystem. We obviously have these NFTs we just dropped. We have Rekt Markets that we've been pushing. We have Rekt drinks as well. These Rekt drinks here, Rekt can't get that to focus. Rekt energy drinks, which we have been doing for a while as well, and then obviously we have Rekt Coin, which underpins the entire ecosystem as well. So there's a lot in Rekt, and Rekt Traders is just a scratch of the surface, I would say. So I would encourage you guys to read into it. But I've just got added to a Rekt global Chinese group, and we're going to do a space on Rekt for the China community and talk about Rekt. So I'm keen to. It's quite exciting to be able to get some traction from outside of our usual grounds, if that makes sense. And I'm glad you guys like the art and the PFP. That's always cool to see. Right, let's talk about markets. Let's open Let's see. Let's open up the trading view. So, it's been pretty quiet in stocks. It's been pretty quiet in stocks. Just it's all really right now a story of what's going on in crypto. That's the only part of the market that to me feels active right now. I've been very quiet in stocks to the point where I've even almost forgotten about some of my positions. But we had a bounce back in NASDAQ yesterday. I think we're basically unchanged in equities right now. Yeah, futures are unchanged. The actual spot is basically unchanged. So I think very little volume going through it. It is the last week of August. Bank holiday, public holiday across the US, UK, Europe on Monday as well. So it's going to be a quiet week. But yeah, not really much to talk about or not really much moving. Nice to see these guys up, AI stuff. I'm still long Micron and SanDisk and SK Hynix, and they've been performing okay. They're a bit they've been up and down, but they've been relatively performing okay. I think gut still says I think we can see a bounce in those if we don't get anything too crazy on the macro side. So I don't really have much to add there. I would keep an eye on rates. Starting to climb higher again. Now, look, we are a decent amount off the highs on 30-year. 30-year, I think, got to 5.32%. So that's nice to see. 10-year down to 4.6. Not a huge move, just about 10 bips lower. So that is nice to see that rates are off the highs. Oil's sort of been chilling in this area for a while. And if we can just get a weak payrolls number, then I think stocks can rally. I think TradFi can rally. It is someone's mentioned it is NVIDIA earnings today, so I would expect. I don't know how much volatility we'll see on NVIDIA itself. we can actually check that. What does the... You know what, let me ask Claude. What does the options market currently imply with regard to NVIDIA earnings volatility? I don't know how much NVIDIA moves on it, but I do think, obviously, comments on CapEx is going to affect the memory guys. And if we can get some bullish comments on that, I think you can see stuff bounce again. So, yeah, that could also be it could also be a catalyst going into today. I remember, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the entire market would be revolving around NVIDIA earnings, and it's sort of proven its valuation a lot more with its earnings and cash flows, and it's become less of a focus now. Like, people are agreeing that current valuations are justified. And it feels like a lot of that has shifted to the memory guys. Earnings volatility is... Implied move is 5.5% to 6.5% according to the options market. So not huge. I mean, that's a decent move for a company that has trillions of dollars of market cap, but it's nothing crazy. I think for SanDisk it was like 20%. For Nebius it was like 20%. This stuff was whipping around quite a lot. So we'll see what happens. And if we get any color from that, I'm more than happy to stay long this stuff into it. I think I just feel like the move is the risk reward is... I don't think they're going to like... I think the crazy low levels we saw was the situational awareness overhang, and I don't think that we'll hit those levels again. And remember, we are still sitting off. We're still sitting 50. I mean, Micron's not quite 50% of the highs. Micron is maybe something like 30, 35 off the highs, possibly even 40. SanDisk is a good at least 40 or so off the highs. The one that's really, I keep talking about this, but SK Hynix is the one that's really a decent amount off as well. So I just favor being long this stuff here, I think. Let's hope we get some good commentary out of NVIDIA earnings on CapEx and see if that stuff can move. Crypto, let's talk about crypto. Mate, crypto is just absolutely on fire at the moment. Let me pull up Dex Screener. Or Gecko Terminal. Absolutely on fire. So obviously, like, the big winner for me has been PONS. I think what we've been speaking about now for many, many weeks has started to play out. And I think the market is finally kind of waking up to this. I took some profits today. I sold about 25% of the position, so it was about 1 million tokens. So I've taken out a decent amount more. I had 5 million tokens, and I'm now down to 3 million tokens. So almost half the original position. And I've taken out my initials plus some profit. And I think for now, I'm happy to chill here with 3 million tokens. It's one of those where when you look at the numbers, everything still points towards things going higher. And if I look at the flow this week, I mean, while we wait for that to load. If I look at the flow, no, that's not what I want. I want PONS coin. I mean, look at these. Look at this daily chart. That is absolutely mental. When's the last time you've seen a chart like this? 4 massive fuck off green candles back to back to back to back. And to me, that doesn't happen unless... It doesn't happen without a reason. It doesn't happen without a fundamental reason, right? People just didn't suddenly decide, oh, this is a good meme. It's not even a meme. It doesn't happen without a fundamental reason. Now, if we look at the actual fees and revenues, it's only really the last day, the last 24 hours, it just generated almost 200K in protocol revenues. That's the highest I've seen for a long time. And that's almost double what the run rate we've been seeing. Actually, maybe even 2.5x to to 3x the run rate we've been seeing for the past 2 or 3 weeks. So this is up. This is up a lot. But this was only up yesterday, and we have 3 other days of massive green candles. So I think there's something that's going to happen here, whether it's a Robinhood listing or whether it's something else. I don't really know, but this isn't just going to do this and then chill here, right? It's either going to do this and go a lot higher, or it will get sold down. I don't know, but like I don't think this is coincidence. This move here is not coincidence. I think there's something going on. These numbers are increasing and they're strong for sure. PONS is back up to a 60% market share of this last 7 days, 77% in the last 24 hours. It truly is undisputed market leader for Launchpads and Robinhood. I don't think that's a debate anymore. And look at this momentum here. 36% day-on-day revenue momentum. That's increasing. The buyback pace, 5x the buyback pace in the last 24 hours versus its 7-day average. That's crazy. Remember, they're spending all these to buy back tokens, and they've almost bought back 29%. So, and burnt, buyback and burn. So, I actually kind of want to tweet this. I wonder if I can get it to go on 2 lines. Does that work? Yeah. Sorry, give me a sec. Screenshot. X. Let's do this tweet. So I think these numbers are kind of crazy. Pretty crazy momentum. Pretty crazy momentum on PONS. Notably, its 24-hour buyback is up over 5x pace. 5x compared to its 7-day daily average. Pretty very strong momentum. Full disclosure, I took profits on 25% of my, I'll just say I took some of my position today. Still think this has room to go a lot higher, especially if growth multiples get baked in. And what I mean by growth multiples, we touched on this yesterday, but this market cap to revenue multiple is 2.1x, pump fund is 4.7, but this is still a discount. Right? This is a discount to this. People still don't believe this number is going to be real, so it's still a discount. When this gets to 3x or 3.5x, maybe it starts to become more fairly valued. But in a bull market, that can be a growth multiple, right? It can price in growth. You can say, well, the growth of the Robinhood chain is going to continue to increase. Growth of on-chain activity is going to continue to increase. Crypto is now in a late bear, early bull market stage, and all these numbers could increase, and that starts getting priced in. So it's like we've been talking about the discount. This is way too cheap. That's starting to correct to get closer to fair value. I still don't think it's at fair value yet, but then you can even start to price in growth, and that's why I think this is still such a convex trade. I mean, it's just under an $80 million market cap, $78 million market cap, and this is, I think, the best coin to express a view on growth in the Robinhood ecosystem, and it's crazy. It's crazy that that coin on what I think is the best coin on Robinhood is an $80 million market cap, and I think people who are in the trenches right now are people suffer from massive recency bias. It's like, oh, well, I've only seen coins get to 10 mil or 20 mil, or nothing ever goes past 100 mil. So I don't think anything can. But this isn't just a meme coin. This is a coin that's generating real cash flows. And, I still think this is cheap for what it is. Now, you have to take profits. And I think as I've mentioned a few times, the problem that I've had is not taking enough profits, even when you're up. And, at least now that I've taken some profits, as I said, I've gone from 5 million tokens to 3 million tokens. Still a big position for me. I mean, you can see the market value of what remains is still 353K, right? That's still a big position. So I think that expresses my view. Which coin is this? Is PONS, PONS. It's a launch pad on Robinhood. So it's like Pump Fun, but it's on Robinhood chain. And I think that still expresses a bullish view. And I think I'm happy with the position now. I'm happy to if it drops back below this 0.1 level, I think like 89, 90 area, I would definitely buy back. But yeah, I still think this is still my top pick for the stuff that I own. What else is interesting? This, man, I'm telling you, this new Lai token. Hey, look, I own a Chinese coin, guys. This new Lai token, I think this is going to come back. I think this is sneaky bid, this coin. There is something to be said when something crashes like this and bounces back. There really, truly is. And we've seen that a few times with this coin. And we can see how long some of these wicks are, right? Like, there is something to be said when a coin goes down and then starts to go back up again. And remember, most coins in the most coins in the meme coin market, and there's millions of them, they all go to zero, right? So some of them will run up, and then they'll just go back to, not to zero, but to some sort of terminal value. And very, very few of them, a small percentage of them, bounce back off that terminal value, right? This has had a meaningful bounce back off the terminal value. I think almost 2x off the lows here. Not quite almost 2x, but a decent bounce. And it looks like it's probably going to print another green candle and trend higher again. I think when it does that, and when you get back to these levels again, or when you retest all-time highs, then I think people realize, okay, this isn't just going to be one of those coins that's going to die and go away. There is something a bit more to this. It does have legs, and I still, I don't want to say thesis, because having a thesis on a meme coin just sounds a bit silly, doesn't it? I mean, you can have a reason why you buy something. You think, oh yeah, this should go higher because of this, but thesis, I think does a disservice to academia, to use that term for a meme coin. But I think the reason why I like it is because I just think Binance needs to have a big runner. I think Binance needs to have a big runner. I think there's a lot of fight. The on-chain competition is great for us because it means the forces above us are pushing hard for things to move, and that means we get runners on all chains, right? But you have Base competing with Robinhood, competing with Solana, competing with BNB, and we've seen Base list BaseCat. We've seen Robinhood list CashCat. Solana isn't an exchange, but we've seen plenty of runners on Solana get pushed very aggressively. Plenty of coins that maybe you could relate to, or could be the face of certain apps, trading apps, get pushed hard. So, nothing brings more people in than people making money and seeing people make money, and then people thinking, okay, I need to get involved in that because they're making money. That is the best form of advertisement, and we haven't really seen it yet on Binance. Yes, we've seen New Line move to 40 million market cap. We've seen, it hit 80 almost. We've seen Mars Coin get to similar-ish levels, but these are small numbers. I think you have to get your head out of that bear market time and start thinking bigger. I think these are small numbers. Sure, for trading right now and for intraday or intra-week trading, and you're trying to figure out when to buy, sell, when to get involved in something. Yes, these numbers are all very important. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're trying to, my style of trading is not to trade things intraday, and I have a longer holding period. I've held PONS for 40 days almost, right? This has only been around for a few days, but it's still, it's a few days, right? In 0.0, I've held for, probably says here, when was my first purchase? 12th of August. So, that's 14 days, 2 weeks I've held that. So it's, I'm looking for trades in the market where I can find a strong narrative or a strong idea or something with a good cash flow story that is mispriced, and have the ability to hold it for multiple days, rather than, okay, what's the hot meme of the day? What's the daily runner? Can I be there to buy it? And then can I sell it? I don't have the time to do that. It's too stressful to do that. Much higher risk doing that. And I just don't find it enjoyable. Really. So I think I'm trying to, I think, as I tweeted the other day, there's so many ways to make money, right? There's multiple ways to make money. When this is what I tweeted the other day, the first day, when I started on the trading floor at Barclays Capital in London, senior trader who's now a good friend of mine basically sat me down and said, hey, look, you have to figure out what type of trader you are. What's your trading style? Because everyone has a different trading style, right? And actually, some of these trading styles are incorporated in our Rekt Traders game, which is quite cool. But you might be someone who's aggressive on risk. You might be someone who's very disciplined and tight on risk. You might be someone who's, trying to take the other side of things and trying to be contrarian. You might be someone who likes jumping onto momentum, etc. Like, there are so many different styles of trading, and lots of them can make money. Lots of them can lose money, but discipline is required for all of them. But there's more than one way to make money, and I think people often forget that. And I think people often chase styles that are glamorized without realizing it's maybe not the best way for them to make money. You know what I mean? And I think with trenching, it's very glamorized. I think it's very glamorized, and people making, hundreds of thousands of dollars overnight or in the space of a few hours. And sometimes that's what people want. I guess a younger crowd may want to make a quick buck early on, but that may not be the best trading style for everyone. And also, like, with that stuff, you have to be literally at your desk 24/7, because the daily runner and the daily narrative will shift and move very quickly. And if you're not there to take profits, or you're not there to switch, then you end up losing money and you lose out. So it's just something that I think you have to figure out for yourself. Like, what is your trading style? What have you done in the past where you've been like, oh, I did that really well and I made good money on that. Let me do more of that. Or, fuck, I've been doing the same thing over and over again for the last 2 years in crypto. I've never made any money. Then it means you have to change something. It's not, don't degrade yourself to thinking, oh, I just got unlucky, right? Don't degrade yourself to thinking, oh, I'm going to keep gambling and then I'm going to eventually hit a runner and then I'm going to be the one that's lucky. Like, that's not trading, that's gambling, right? Make a change, figure out something that you would change in your trading style to start making money. And there are different styles of trading. You don't have to go for the daily runner every day. You can hold things for longer periods of time. You can trade majors and make money. Sure, you're not going to get a 10x, but you can still, money, P&L compounds over time. And if you make a little bit every day and a little bit every month, that all adds up, right? You make $1,000 a month, then you're suddenly making, $1,000 a day, you're making 365 grand a day. And that's not going to take up all your time, but that's obviously a lot of money. So I just think there's lots of different ways to do it. And people just resign themselves to what is glamorized and what usually tends to be, on the scale between gambling and trading, it usually tends to be right on the cusp of gambling. And I know, like, trading is not easy, number one, and I have figured out for myself what works for me and what doesn't. And I've lost so much money trying to trench and gamble and pick these things. I still do. I will still buy things and I will lose money on them. And afterwards I'll think, why did I do that? That was dumb. But I just know like my sweet spot is holding things for a few weeks, finding things that are mispriced in my opinion, or finding a narrative that's mispriced, whether it's cash flow driven, whether it's something that's a bit more intangible, and I have the ability to hold on to it for a long time and sort of just like wash out the intraday, the daily noise. And I think this PONS trade has really been a great example of that, because we've had times when it hasn't been moving. We've had, we all remember the V2 launch that got delayed and this thing crashed. It's been a volatile hold, like you have held it all the way up here, and then what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 almost consecutive days of bad price action, and I've still held on to it because I've still believed in the trade and had the conviction on it, because I wasn't really looking at obviously I was looking at the price, but what was more important to me was to look at the revenues and the buybacks and the market share, and all these numbers were still strong during this period, actually. And I actually remember very clearly they were very strong during this period, and I was like, this is silly. And I actually ended up buying more somewhere along the way here and somewhere along the way here. And it's incredible to me because this is all public information, right? Like anyone can get these numbers. They're all on chain. It's all there. But I just don't think there are many people who are doing this level of analysis, which is not even a high level of analysis. This is not difficult maths. It's literally just division. It's not hard. It's not a difficult concept. It makes fees. It buys tokens. It burns them. These are all very, very basic things, but because sometimes they take time to play out, people are not involved, or they think they can make more money in the time frame before this. And when these things do reprice and when they start to move, and I've said this so many times in our spaces, they don't just start to trend higher slowly. They just fucking gap up and you miss it, right? And that's what's happened here, right? It's sure you could have bought here, and here, but like every time here, you're thinking, fuck, do I top blast it? Fuck, do I top blast it? And then lo and behold, someone's probably ended up giving in and top blasting it here, and now you're down on the day. And I still think this goes higher, and you make money on that if you hold on to it. But it's an awful feeling if you've bought this up here, if you bought this at 0.13 and it's now dropped all the way down to 0.1. That's not a nice feeling, right? And you look at this chart, you're thinking, fuck, what have I done? So it's very hard you have to get lucky to just suddenly buy it here and then it moves up. I don't think this was in the charts. My thoughts on charts, and I'm coming around to it a bit more, but I don't think this is not something that people were doing TA on. Now, maybe someone did TA here saying this is close to breaking out, or here, but then you've missed a good chunk of that move. That's almost 2x here than it was there. So when the stuff reprices, it just gaps up like this and you don't have a chance to catch it. So like I bet you anything there are people who have had this on their radar, have maybe made a little bit of money on the start, sold out of it, and have thought, well, I get the story, but I'm just going to catch it at the right time when it starts to take off. In the meantime, they've probably been gambling other coins every day, and they've maybe made some money, maybe not made some money, maybe they got lucky, but then they've missed out on all of this because they just weren't switched on to the trade. And then you see the posts of like, oh, if I held on to my PONS, I would have been up $1 million, $2 million, whatever it is, right? And I think that's what happens when you get too focused on price, too focused on the day-to-day, daily runner stuff, too focused and too entrenched, and not actually looking at the fundamentals of something. And there are very few coins you can conduct fundamental analysis on that are actually also hot. There are tons of coins out there that generate cash flow, right? There are many coins out there that are utility coins, whatever you want to call them, and you can conduct this analysis on them, and many of them will look cheap, but they won't move because no one cares. No one cares. No one's looking at it. It's not a focus in the market, they won't move. And even with PONS, no one cared for a while. It didn't move. But with this, because it's on the Robinhood chain, which has the most mindshare, I would argue, of any chain right now, and because I do view it as you're kind of owning the casino rather than gambling in the casino. To me, it was inevitable that it would eventually get going and would move, and so it's a unique situation. So the fact that this is actually, I think, one of the only it's the only coin that I've found where I've been like, okay, I can do the cash flow analysis, and it's also, it's within the current narrative. Then it just makes it easy to be big in it, because I don't think there's really many other options. And I know there are other coins out there. You obviously have stockbrokers. You have, and Cashcat has a launch pad, but it's not really the main feature of it. There's probably other coins that have similar stories, but then then again, this is almost an 80% market share. So why would you not just simplify it, pick the winner, when the winner itself is still so cheap? I don't know. I've just done another stream where I've rambled about PONS, really, haven't I? But it's been the right trade for me. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with that trade, I think. I've made more money on other trades, but in my trading career, if you like. But I'm taking 2 years off and coming back to trading in a market that has become very different and much more saturated and much more difficult, I think, to make money in. And we're not in the middle of a raging bull. I'm happy, and I've taken what people have deemed to be a risky strategy and holding something. I'm actually quite happy with that. Not really about the money that's been made, but more just like, okay, it was an idea or a thesis that I had, and it is starting to play out. And I think that's quite a satisfying feeling, I think. Because you don't get many of those. You definitely don't get many of those. They're few and far between. They're few and far between. Although I've had a few of them, which have obviously done very well in past cycles. And I think when we started this, we were like, can I find another one? And I guess I've found something that I've made some money on. Now it's still a decent magnitude below. P&L number is still a decent magnitude below what I've made in other cycles, but there's a world where we're at the beginning of the cycle, and on-chain activity 10x is from here, right? In terms of users, fees, market caps, volumes, and then there's 10x's as well. And that's when you can make some real money, like life-changing money. So the question is, does that happen? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're a little bit too early. I'm not sure if you have another dip and then a lull, then it comes back. I don't really know. That's the part I'm not sure about. But it is a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. Eric says I'm up 300% on PONS in just a few weeks. Thank you, SF. No, you don't have me to thank, because, as I said, I'm not here to be copy traded, but I've presented an idea and I've presented my thoughts, and you've taken the decision to use that information, hopefully do some research yourself, and then you've taken the risk, right? It's not me that's taking the risk. I mean, I've taken the risk on my own book, but I haven't taken risk for you. You've taken your own risk with your own money, and then you've made that money based on your decision making. So, if I alerted you to the trade and that's where you got the idea from, great. And you're welcome. But at the end of the day, I think you need to, you pulling the trigger on something is a thing. Many people will not do it, right? Many people will be thinking, "Oh, I wish I did." So pulling the trigger itself is something you have to pat yourself on the back on, and also taking profits. You see, I've taken some profits, decent amount of profits now. Like, don't round trip this stuff, because you never know what can happen. You really never know. Tom says, it's hard enough to get trade right and stay the course. I take my hat off to you when you had the added pressure of holding PONS publicly with as much volatility as it has. Yeah, I appreciate that. It is, I'm not going to lie. It's not like I held the position and I held through it, and I don't think I was close to selling. But, when you're sitting there and it's like you're pushing this big trade that you really like, and you've put all your thoughts and ideas out on it, and then it's suddenly down 75% in 2 or 3 days, you're kind of sitting there thinking like, fuck, am I just a bit of an idiot here? And I think at that point in time, I did really feel like an idiot because no one else that I knew was in the trade. None of my friends were in the trade. No one really liked it. I tried to pitch it to Mando a couple of times, but it wasn't really something for him. I think he likes to play in bigger cap stuff. But yeah, like not a single person that I actually knew or who have been in my trading circles was in this or liked it. And then when it was down, and I know people were favoring other coins in the ecosystem when it was down, I was like, oh shit, have I just done something really stupid here? And I've had instances where I have bought things that no one else has, like weird off the run stuff, and then just ended up dying. And I was like, oh, well, that was stupid. So yeah, at the lows, I was definitely not feeling good about it. And I think if it was a meme coin, I would have sold it. I think if it was a meme coin, I would have sold it for sure. But the fact that it wasn't, and the fact that I could justify the position with the cash flow numbers, the multiples, the comps, and that's exactly what I did. I think when I was like, okay, do I sell this? And I go and look at the stats, I was like, well, the stats are still incredibly strong, even after the fuck-ups. So that's not, fundamentally, if that's the reason I got into the trade for, then that should be the reason that I should sell the trade for. I think the very first message I put in Rekt Mkts Pro in the Discord, if I can find the exact words that I used. Maybe I can't. I've put so many messages in here. Let's see. I can't find the exact message, but I said the invalidation for me would be if we had like 2 weeks of revenues declining and losing market share and all that kind of stuff. And we, in this entire time, we never really had that. We've had 3 or 4 days of weaker price action, I think, of weaker revenue generation, but they've often been over weekends. I think you have to apply a discount to weekends because activity is definitely lower on weekends. And it's also the middle of summer, August. I think you have to factor in seasonality, but it's only ever been really like 3 or 4 days, and then suddenly it starts picking up again. So we never really, I wanted to see 2 weeks of downwards action, and we've never even really had more than 4 or 5 days, in my opinion, or even on the market share standpoint as well. So I don't think it ever really. I think there was one day it dropped below 50% market share on fees, only one day, and aside from that, it's generally been in the 60 to 80% range. So, with it, if it wasn't for those, I would have sold it, I think. But that's what kept me in it, and that's what actually resulted in me buying more of it, actually, because I was like, this just feels mispriced, and people are selling for reasons that I deemed to be emotional rather than reasons that I deemed to be fundamental. So, I'll just finish this yogurt. What else to talk about? I don't know. I don't really know what else to look at. There's been a few runners on Solana in the last 24 hours this week. I don't really want to touch Solana coins unless something has like a crazy strong narrative, but I just don't really want to touch Solana coins. I don't think I have an edge there. I still feel like there's an edge in Robinhood. I think there are fewer traders here. I just don't really want to touch Solana coins. I closed out this ICAP position, which was the meme coin on Inc. I was not the comments I put around this when I put the trade on over the weekend. Was that I don't think this is a stronger narrative as Robinhood, and it's going to be a scalp. I'm going to look to take profits on this. So I'd actually now take it one step further to say, like, I'm not seeing a single person mention Inc chain on my timeline, in our Discord, in my trading circles, like not a single person mentioned Inc. after that flurry of the weekend. So I'm not saying it's dead by any means, but I'm just saying, it doesn't feel like it has going to have a lasting narrative like the other stuff. Basically, for Inc Chain to, what they really need to do on this is they needed one of the meme coins like ICAT or maybe something else to hit like a $10 million, $20 million, $30 million market cap, because then people would bridge over and be like, okay, I need to be on this because there's one coin that's at 30, everything else is sub 1, there's money to be made here, and then things would start to move. But that never happened. This got to, I think it got to a high of 1.5 mil, got sold down. Awful liquidity, awful liquidity. I mean, you can see what I was trying to do here, selling fucking $50 clips of it. I had to write a bot to do this for me, and then eventually I was like, you know what, fuck it, let me just get out of it. But the liquidity in it was awful, and I was just like, well, if no one, whether it's Kraken, whether it's whoever, like, if no one is taking the initiative to latch on to this daily runner, it is north of $2 million market cap. No one's taking the initiative to come into this, add liquidity, start pushing it, throw some capital in, bring more people, into this coin and onto the chain. Then the entire chain is not going to last. I don't want to pin the success of the entire chain on one coin, but let's just call a spade a spade. A meme coin runner on your chain will bring more people onto your chain. The higher it goes, the more people will come. That is just the way it is. People want to trade. People want to gamble on crypto. You can sit on a high horse, but that is just the matter of the fact. And that's why Robinhood and Vlad are so smart. And I mean, who knows what happened with CashCat and where the buying came from, but it was pushed. It was pushed by Vlad. It was on his phone in the earnings call. He followed the account. He understands what brings people to Robinhood crypto, and it was CashCat. It literally was CashCat, and he understood that. And now look at the Robinhood ecosystem; it's absolutely thriving. So that is something that I think has to. Oh yeah, New Light is ripping. That's something that has to happen, and I didn't see it happen quick enough on Inc. I'm not saying it can't happen in the future, and that was sort of the bet that I was making, but I was just very quick to, today I was like, okay, let me just get out of this. I mean, I had $6,000 left, and I took out my principal, but I was like, let's get out of this. This thing is ripping. I was gonna buy some more around here, literally when I got back to here, and 2 days ago, and I asked I asked a few friends, I was like, should we be buying this here? And everyone was like, no, it's going so much lower. I think the FOMO crew, I think I can even get FOMO up actually. I think the FOMO crew still have big positions in it. Let's see. This is FOMO. I'm on FOMO, by the way, but all my trades are still in Rekt Markets. The only thing I've done is I've put my Rekt position on FOMO so people can see it. And I think for Rekt, we have to be part of this to capture a wider audience, and we have some ideas and plans around that. So you'll see that in due course. But what was I going to look up? New Light, right? Crypto. Is it trending? Can I type it in? These are not the right ones, are they? Maybe I have to type in. Let me just get this contract address. Actually, that's probably the best way to do it. There we go. Let's see, holders. Position. So, like you see, Frank's got a massive bag. This guy, quantity, bit of a legend in trading, I think, and got in quite cheap. These guys are up a lot, and I think what people were telling me is that look at these P&L numbers. These guys are up big. These guys have to dump first before it can move higher. So I didn't end up buying because I thought, that's a fair enough comment. But man, to see this, to see all of this, to see all these guys still hold and still express conviction in this trade, and to see this chart, bring it one day, to see that big rebound here, I think is pretty bullish. Everyone's playing for the same thing. Will Binance list this? Will Binance push this? I don't know. They may not care. They may do. Who knows? But I think they have to push something. And as it stands, this is the front runner. And now the front runner can always change. And you'll actually notice a lot of people who are in this had sold their Mars coin bag to buy this, because I think the perception was that Mars coin was the front runner, and then that perception shifted to this. And it's a good. This site is FOMO.family. It's social trading. You guys check it out. It's pretty cool. And it's actually big. I mean, everyone is using it now. So, yeah, this is the golden bull, the golden. I think it's the golden ox. I don't think it's the bull per se, but it's a pretty good. Again, I'm trying not to be a meme person because there are just so many memes, but it is a good narrative for a bull run. I think it's very Binance. This looks very Binance to me. It's all the yellows and all that kind of stuff. So, I don't know. We'll see. It's nice to see that pump though. Thanks for alerting me to that. That was FOMO, by the way, not GMGM. It was FOMO. The website was FOMO. FOMO. Let me put it in here. FOMO.family is the website. Okay, let me go through if we have any questions. Otherwise, I think we can wrap it up there. Pray for some. Well, do I want good NVIDIA numbers? What's good, right? If they increase their capex forecast, is that good for the stock or not? I don't know. Probably not, but it's good for the memory coins. So it's interesting now. Like, what does the market want from NVIDIA numbers? I don't know. If NVIDIA rallies, I would guess the other stocks are down, right? I don't know if I'm. When's Mando being added? I'm working on adding Mando. We're just having a lot of problems with the data that I'm getting. So, because Mando trades on an exchange with grid bots, we have to get the trades from an API. It's not the same as trading stuff on chain, where it's literally just, by the definition of blockchain, it's just a ledger. So it's so easy to get that data and make sure it's all correct. Mando keeps telling me some of his P&L is off, so I need to fix that. But hopefully we'll get him on soon. That's it. No more questions. Rekt buybacks already started. Not yet. We haven't yet started the buybacks. It takes a while for the funds to clear on WAP, and then they get paid to us in fiat. So then we have to on-ramp it to our exchange as well. But we have a decent amount. I mean, like 150, 160k odd of Rekt to buy back, which we haven't even started yet. So I do think Rekt. We can have a quick look at Rekt coin actually while we're here. Let's pull that up. So we've had a decent-ish bounce, I think. Really, like we had this huge lull, and it really felt like we were going lower and lower and lower here, right? Funnily enough, this move is since we started and launched Rekt Mkts, and I think Rekt Mkts was a risk. Wasn't sure if people would like it, but if we hadn't launched it, we would be lower than where we are. We would be lower than this, right? I just have no doubt in my mind we'd be, who knows? I don't even want to think about where we would be. So this initial run up is because of Rekt Mkts, and now we've been moving around here, and we've had some momentum at times. Then it goes quiet, momentum, and then it goes quiet. But where do we hit? We got all the way to $600 million market cap. In the middle of a bull run, and I think our fees, the revenues we make from Rekt Mkts, all go towards buying Rekt coin, and that's happening right now at you know, but really is, you know, we're seeing stuff move, but it really is still a bear market. I do feel confident with what we've built that we can grow that community by a large amount, to therefore increase these revenues and then, you know, buy back more coin and have that improve. And generally speaking, things re-rate higher, right? Like if ETH goes higher, Rekt is an ETH pair. If ETH goes higher, the dollar value of Rekt goes higher by definition. You know, back here, this is when ETH was ripping as well, by the way. ETH was almost 5K here, right? We're now 2.5K. So if ETH got back to 5K, I don't know where we'd be exactly, but we would be higher. We would absolutely be higher. So I think we have a few things going for it. And I'm glad that we did Rekt Markets, because without it, I fear we would have been fading into irrelevancy or just banging on the same drum over and over again. And, you know, for all the drinks and stuff to work, we need the coin to work, right? It's a flywheel. You need to be able to give out the coin as rewards. It's too difficult. Rekt is an amazing and brilliant brand, and I truly, from the bottom of my heart, believe in it and believe it stands on its own 2 feet. But without the crypto angle and without the unique aspects we have of it, to become a leading CPG company with just the Rekt brand alone would have taken us years, decades possibly, of a lot of success, of a lot of trial and error, and generally running a loss-making business, trying to continuously raise capital to keep things going, which is how most pure play CPG companies operate. And we're not a pure play CPG company. That's not what Rekt is. Rekt is a crypto brand. That's the way I view it. And within the brand, we have different segments of it. So, by the way, if there's anyone new listening, you can, if you head over to rekt.com, we have energy drinks and stuff you can buy here. This is what I'm drinking right now. This is the Phase watermelon. It's an energy and focus drink. So it has ingredients that obviously, you know, it has natural caffeine in it, but it also has L-theanine, which helps with focus. I actually, having been a non-caffeine drinker, I have one of these every day. So you can get it in that drink format. You can get it in powder format too. Powders, we've got 3 flavors: cherry cola, blue raspberry, and the watermelon flavor. And then we have more stuff coming too. So we also have merch, which I think is sort of like underrated. I think we're out of stock in this one, I don't know. But we've got polos, we've got hoodies, we've got hats, we've got pullovers, we've got some of the OG merch here as well. Oh, this one's out of stock. So we do have merch as well. So as you get integrated into, we also have an affiliate program as well. By the way, we have an affiliate program for both drinks and also for Rekt Markets too. Like if you go into your WAP, you have to go to wap.com and go into your WAP profile. You'll be able to see that you'll get an affiliate code, and if someone signs up from your affiliate link, you get 10% of that. And people have been making money on it, you know, like 2160. I don't know how much are you up on your affiliate codes now. You must have made over $1,000 on affiliate revenue, which more than covers the cost of your annual membership. You've made a profit there. So there's some good little flywheels that are baked into what we have across the ecosystem. But yeah, if you've gotten really involved with us and you like Rekt as a brand, you know, go ahead and get yourself some merch, because it is good quality. Too Far Gone's right, it is good quality merch, and it's good for us, good for our brand, get more people supporting it. So yeah, right. Well, on that note, let's call it a stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Once again, big welcome to everyone from the Chinese community, and I will see you guys again same time tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Let's see what updates we have. Probably maybe a bit more of a TradFi focused one if we get some movers and shakers from NVIDIA earnings. Let's see. All right, guys, have a good one. Goodbye.